Greetings, and welcome to another episode of Her Voice Podcast. I am your host, Coach Ivy, your favorite mompreneur, author, master coach, and inspirational speaker. I am truly excited as we wrap up yet another season here with our phenomenal cast as I turn it over to Davita.
Hello, everybody. I am Deona Foushee, and like I say all the time, stay prayed up every day.
Hey, everyone. It is Melonie, and as you always know, he ain't through with me yet.
Hey, it's Lady D.
Hey, everybody. It's LaTasha, your HR guru.
Hello, and welcome to Her Voice Podcast, the show that allows for women to gather, converse, and respectfully speak freely. A place where we can have some grown woman talk with like-minded women, gain insight and perspective on everyday issues and topics of discussion. I'm your co-host, Crystal, and in this episode, we will be discussing getting back to her. What comes to mind when you hear getting back to her?
You know, Crystal, what comes to mind for me is, especially as women, we play so many different roles. For example, being career women, we may be, owning businesses. For me particularly, I'm also in the military. So we play so many different roles, and sometimes we just lose ourselves in all the responsibilities that comes along with being in all of those different positions. So when I think about getting back to her, it just means reconnecting to who I am as a woman before any of those roles are added. Like, what do I like? What moves me? Who am I at my core? You know?
I feel you on that, Lady D. Career can impact your mental, your physical. It can impact a lot of things. And you being in the military, I take my hat off to you. Because I don't like nobody to tell me what to do.
I know what you mean, Melody. I know what you mean. Why you have to stick around long enough to become the person who tells people what to do.
Okay. I like that.
Okay, let's give some snaps to that. Yes. I love it. For me, when I think about career and just wearing all those hats, it's interesting. I don't know if anybody has ever taken any of those assessments, those personality assessments, but there's one that's based on behavior, and it's interesting to see if you've ever taken one. When you look at your results, how you actually shift from your authentic self to this persona almost when you are in the workplace. And the shift happens in the car, right? It's happening in the car. It's happening in the parking lot. It's happening when you're walking into the building, for those who work in an actual, who work on site, if you will. And you really do become so consumed, because I would say you almost, for the most part, you're more so that person throughout the day than you are your authentic self. So if you're not paying attention, it will definitely take over and almost become who you are when, like Deona said, when that's not who you are at the core. So you have to really be mindful. I want to also add to that, when you have mentors in the workplace or supervisors even, who also have expectations of how you show up in that workspace, that try to guide or, like I said, mentor, navigate who you are and who you become, and before you know it, you've become who they wanted you to be in the workspace versus having that decision of your own. You know what I mean, Melonie?
Yes, I definitely know what you mean with that. I call it the break me syndrome. You go in with your own mind, your own values, your own how you're going to do stuff, and you get a manager that's micromanaging, and all of a sudden you are no longer you anymore. You have morphed into this person that they require you to be. Even down to emails. Oh, you didn't send that email the way I wanted you to send it. I didn't sound like you in the email, so now it's not sent correctly. So yeah, that could mess with your mental, which is part of your self-care.
Yeah, and your self-identity. Like, let's talk
Right.
about losing yourself, right? So we do have to be careful in the workplace for sure. It happens more often than we think.
Yes.
But I know for me, when I think about what comes to mind when I think about getting back to her and losing myself, I certainly think about becoming a mom and a wife. And also, I'm in that sandwich generation where we're not only taking care of our families and our children, but we're also starting to take care of our parents because they're getting older. So being that person for everybody and not taking the time to take care of oneself or enjoy the small things that we used to enjoy, or taking time to rest, because even the Bible tells us to rest, right? God rests on the Sabbath day. So, I mean, rest is rest, meditating, just reading a book. Because I think of personally myself, I used to love just sitting in the corner. I tell people all the time, I'm probably the most popular introvert that you probably ever meet because of my passions. It pushes me out into the public. But I used to love just sitting in a corner by myself in my little lamp and my chair and read a book. Just,
Right.
and that was my happy place, my peace. And, once you become a mom, you give so much to your children because you want them to have what you didn't have. And when
Right.
you become a wife, you want to be that piece for your husband, and you want to be that helpmate. So you start just basically putting yourself on the back burner so you can provide for your family. And then when it comes to being like a caretaker, your parents start getting older, they start going through things. In my personal story, my mom had cancer. So now she has it kind of destroyed some of the veins in her legs, so she doesn't walk as well, and she doesn't drive a lot. So helping her with that, and me and my brothers help her, and so it becomes a lot, and a lot of stuff happens that life situations, things happen, life happens, and then you start giving so much of yourself and emptying your cup into others, then your cup is empty, and you're like tired and exhausted, and sometimes depression sinks in, and you just lose yourself and what you used to resemble. And it's just like, how do I get back to who I was before? And that's a journey for a lot of people, to try to get back to her, trying to get back to yourself.
Yeah. Caregivers, and thinking about taking care of others, taking care of our parents even. I don't think, Davita, a lot of people think about how much energy, time goes into that role, wearing that hat. You talking about just getting all caught up and consumed in what they need, scheduling their appointments, things of that nature. So you really do lose sight of not only yourself, but most certainly taking care of yourself. Yeah, that can definitely happen with that. And so that's definitely one of those spaces where we can get really caught up in other people, their feelings, their thoughts,
Right, and how their perceptions of what we should and should not do.
So we're not even watching what we say, and I'm having to walk on eggshells. I mean, these are parents that are getting kind of older. Some of them get a little about it, get a little rowdy with you now.
Oh yeah, most
Because they
definitely.
feel vulnerable in their space already because they're having to rely on you.
Mm-hmm.
So and because these are our parents, they come from a different time. They don't really know how to even articulate how they're feeling now. I've had my mom to say to me, she says, somebody once said to me that the roles reversed. It's like, y'all, we become the children, and y'all think about psychologically how that may feel for them. And so then we have to be mindful of that So
Mhm.
our authentic self with them, you know what I'm saying, is
Oh,
not.
I'm definitely the one, like, because I'm the oldest daughter. I'm definitely the one who has to
Yeah,
raise my younger brothers. Like, wait a minute, that's your mama.
me
That's
too. Yes. Watch them out.
watch your mouth. Because
And
they'll.
see,
Hey, look at, I told them like it's not their mom. Hey, no cuss from my mama. Watch them out.
I have a totally different dynamic than you all, and this is where I kind of, with that caregiver piece, where I kind of lost me a little bit. I became my mom's rep payee.
Oh,
If anybody knows, you learn a person when you're dealing with their money.
money.
I had never met my mother before. Before I became her rep payee, I never met her, and then I became someone new. So where I was a daughter, her baby, because I am the baby.
Yes.
You
Wow.
know, the change and the self-care, the change that happened,
Yes.
that transition was just crazy. And
Mhm.
at one point, I was like, I don't want to talk to you right now.
Right.
I don't want to talk to you. Don't call me no more today.
Yeah.
Call me tomorrow.
Yeah, because you have a completely different title and role in her life at that point. That is different.
And then it's hard to kind of figure out who are you, because your mama ain't your mama no more. That you got to tell her no.
Yeah.
It's hard telling a grown woman no, but imagine her being your mama too. Like, so that dynamics and who am I, and can I really say that to her?
That's what that's what me and Deona was saying. Like, I might
say that. Hey, how she gonna take this? Is she gonna it's gonna be two to the chest on me.
You can't be true to yourself, because you got to think about
You can't, Davita. And they quick to say, I'm still your mama. Or I'm still your daddy now. You ain't too. Now this one good. You ain't too big to get your butt. Now you ain't. You know. And I be thinking to myself, you got to catch me first.
that part. That part.
Deona.
So I really like what Davita said. She mentioned, like getting back to yourself is really just a journey, because when we think about it, like that doesn't happen overnight. To lose yourself,
no,
and you don't realize even when it happens. You just wake up one day and when you actually think about it, personally, I just did not know who I was. Imagine having a best friend that you didn't see for a number of years, and now you're having to reconnect with that person. You don't know what they've been through, what's been going on with them, how they felt, what you just don't know. And then you look in the mirror and it's like, wow, like who is this person now?
Wow, Deona.
Who is this person? I know who I am as a mom. I know who I am as a partner in this relationship. I know who I am on this job. But now when I get away from all of that and it's just me sitting alone in the room,
what makes me happy?
Who am I? What do I like?
What do I like?
I don't even know what I like. I haven't had time to do anything for me in how long? I'm around here running around taking care of these children and this man. I just don't know what to do. Like, what do I want to do for me?
Right. Then if you get the time, or if you get that moment, because your husband finally says, "Babe, I got the kids. Go do something for yourself." You be sitting like, what?
You feel weird. Davita, listen, you feel weird because it's not normal, right?
You feel a sense of selfishness if you go and do it. Like you go if you do it. But I need women especially, because for some reason it's us that always falls into this hole. Women, for some reason, yes. I don't know. We do it more so. Yeah, you're correct, Deona. We do it more so than men. I need us to understand that caring for yourself is essential. It's not selfish. If we don't care for ourselves, who's gonna do it? Yeah. We can't be nothing to nobody else if we can't be true to ourselves first. Right. Like I need people to start understanding, including me, because I'm still struggling with it, that it is not selfish to care about yourself.
It's
self-full.
And necessary. It's very necessary. And if you're going to go and have your self-care day and be concerned about all the things that you should have been doing for other people, just wait till another day.
Yeah.
How many have actually tried to take some time out for yourself, and you spent the whole time, I should have been doing this, I should have been doing that, I got a laundry room full of clothes that need to be washed, I should be at home cooking,
Pressure. Why are you on my forehead? Stop.
David, I was going to tell Deona, if you don't get off my pinky toe,
but we have to do better. We really do have to do better. We have to do better by ourselves, because if we're like a single point of failure, that's a problem. If everything falls apart because we don't show up one day, that's a problem.
Something ain't right. The foundation ain't right.
We just gotta have a moment of silence. Now say it one more time, Deona, please.
We can't be everything to everybody. If we don't show up today and the whole boat just go to chaos, like that's a problem.
Wow.
That's a problem. We need help, and we have to allow people to help us. We have to take time for ourselves. And if we're not good, then a lot of times we don't realize it, but the people around us and the people that we're impacting, they could feel that. If you're not the best version of you, you're not giving other people the best version of you either. You can't just not be the best version of you to you. You're not the best version of yourself to your children, to your spouse, on that job, in your business, to your employees. It don't work like that.
So, Lady D, we just decided to come and step on everybody's toes. Is that what we doing?
We just coming with the fire tonight.
I thought we was friends.
I'm going on mute.
I feel attacked.
This is her episode. I don't even know why we here or why we came here. Okay, because see,
I'm my man down over here.
You know what? This is just experience talking, because I done walked the walk. I done looked in the mirror and didn't know who was looking back at me.
My feelings hurt.
Listen,
I did. I had to take that journey. I took the journey all the way out there to the wilderness, and I'm in the process of taking the journey back to me.
I'm in the process. Deona, listen, I want to speak to something. I want to speak to what you said in terms of the whole boat out there sinking just because you are on it. What came to mind was how we do everyone else a disservice when we do the most.
Yeah.
We're doing them a disservice. As women, as leaders in the workplace, in our homes, whatever the case may be, our job is to foster and develop individuals so that when we are out of pocket, the show can go on. What a perspective. That's all. What a perspective that is. Wow.
Right.
I'm going to teach my son how to iron his own clothes tonight.
We gonna start tonight. TUH tonight.
Kyla said, "Don't bring him into this. He don't have anything to do with it."
I'm on strike.
But I do agree with you, though. I do agree with you, Coach, because that is our function, our primary function. We are supposed to be raising children the way they're supposed to go, and we're not supposed to raise them in a way where they become slothful or lazy or dependent upon, us. And I have to say I'm guilty. I definitely am, especially with my baby girl. I spoil her a lot because. And it goes back to trauma. It goes back to what I didn't get when I was a child. You know what I mean? Like hugs, kisses, the affection that I wanted. Oh, child, I give my baby hugs all the time. And anytime her little sad face come on, I'm right there. My husband got to look at me with the side eye. Be like, no, stop, because like Dee said, you're doing her a disservice. Yeah. You are doing things for her that she can do for herself. And when you're not around, the first thing she's looking for, where's mommy? I want mommy. What mommy at? And they looking for you to do stuff, but that they can do themselves. Yeah. and it hurts you because now one's trying to make up for it because you didn't establish the boundaries and you didn't establish
that's what happens. Exactly. And so they're steady pulling. When you're trying to pull away for a moment, they're steady pulling because they're so reliant. On you for so many things. So you can't almost catch that break, right? And your boundaries are definitely all out of whack at that point and violated.
Yeah. And see, Davida, the thing is, your husband is right. You have to let her feel that because what we do as parents, as mothers and women, we are nurturers, and we don't want them to feel that bad feeling, that negative feeling, that sad, that disappointment. We don't want them to feel that, but the reality of it is, you are who you are because you had to go through all those phases and feel all those feels.
Right.
And they don't feel all those feels. We have children and people in society that don't know how to function. I deal with grown adults on an everyday basis that throw temper tantrums, and I ain't the one for it. You know, just because you used to throwing a tantrum and saying things and pushing people's buttons to get what you want, if I push somebody enough, they're gonna give me what I want. That's how they feel. But see, when they get to me, first of all, I got rules and regulations I got to follow. So you could kick, holler, scream, call my VP, call my supervisor, call the president. I really don't care. At the end of the day, it's a chain of command, it's a process, and you have to go through it just like everyone else. But we're in a microwave society, and we have people for so long. If you scream and push the right buttons and talk to the right people, you don't have to go through the proper channels of things.
Right.
That they expect. And a lot of times we give in because we don't like the way it makes us feel, or we just don't want to hear them. We don't want to hear them whine and gripe and complain, but we have to. Like I said, in order to be sufficient and self-sufficient, they have to feel all the feels. We are who we are because we felt all of those things.
Right.
And to deal with it, we had to go through it to understand how it made us feel to not want to keep doing it or to make better versions of us. So until they go through those things, they can't practice or do different things to get different outcomes. They can feel it.
I agree completely.
Yeah, they basically become little brats in the workplace.
Yeah.
Not brats in the workplace.
How to when they go and shoot up these places, you know, they be ready to go threaten people, and you get bomb threats at school, all this stuff. You know, we ain't used to have all this stuff before, but because people don't want, you know, they don't want to deal with it or whatever, it gets to that extreme. But all that goes into getting back to her, your self-care, making sure you are self-sufficient, whatever it takes. Getting back to her is whatever it takes for you to be you, authentically you, whether it's mental, physical self-care, isolation, whatever. It can be any and everything, because no one knows what's required or what's needed for you to be you. You will know when you are not where you are. You will know when it's unhealthy. You will know when you're running on E because you're doing for everybody else and can't do for yourself.
Right.
Crystal, when I say you just spoke volumes to me by saying that, because for me, I feel like when I lost myself was in a past relationship. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know, like, I literally was taking what they thought I was and was inflecting on my thoughts of who I was.
Right.
I started becoming that lazy person. I started becoming the person that didn't think she deserved more or didn't think she was worth more. I started becoming that. And I realized in the relationship how unhappy I was, but I was trying to just push through because I wanted to be the person that was wanted, and I wanted to be needed, and I wanted to be all these things, when I realized I wasn't being any of that for me. I wasn't showing up for me. I was showing up for him. I wasn't showing up for who I am. Wow. I was giving him a version that was pleasing.
Ooh.
You know, I'm not gonna rock the boat. I'm gonna be pleasing to you. And then I won't tell you everything that happened, but something happened one day, and I realized that he had never met me because I had lost me.
Got you.
I realized that he never met me because I lost me, and I did him a disservice in that.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, wait a minute, allow me to reintroduce myself. I'm
sorry. And my name is not Hove.
Hey. So I had, basically like, okay, let me explain something to you. I am that girl. She is me and I am her. You're not gonna treat me like I'm not her. And if you don't like it, hey, You don't live here, so it's okay. You ain't got to come back. Don't even
Hey,
come back.
you can kick rocks.
Don't even come back by. You know, you ain't got. You don't live on this side of town. You don't live on this street. You don't even have to come here. And don't worry about. I'll block you. So just in case you feel like you want to call me again, don't worry about it. I got you. I'm gonna set you free, and by setting him free, it allowed me to be me again. And it allowed me to have to kind of. I had to get back into who I was and what I knew me to be versus the narrative that he had written for me. And the narrative that I had started reading, I hadn't added a chapter to the book. I hadn't took the glue, I hadn't snatched it out of his book, took the glue, but sticking in mine. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put that right in between who I used to be, who I want to be. This, right there. I'm gonna put it right in the middle.
Wow, that's good, man. I'm gonna put it in between who I used to be and who I want to be.
It wasn't even part of my book, nor one of the chapters I had written.
Right.
I was writing for myself, and I had just put it in the middle.
That's good. That's good.
All right, memoirs of Melonie. Okay, I hear you.
Remember?
Don't you do it?
You're welcome.
I like that title.
I like
You're
it.
welcome.
I like it.
No, I'm about to write that down.
I just want a little. I just want one line. Just one.
I got you. I'll put you on the front. Thank you, Davita, for giving me the name of this.
Right.
And you know that's her thing, Melanie. That is her thing. But I feel the same way with you, Melonie. For me, it was trauma, so it was coupled with relationships, and also traumatic experiences. And so for me, it altered my perception of who I was and who I thought I should be. And so I felt powerless. You know, I struggled with defining who is LaTasha, where is she going, you know, who is supposed to love me. All of those questions wrestled in my head, and it really came from not having someone pour into me. And you know, that's a big thing, as Deona and Davita said earlier. As women, we should have someone to help foster our gifts, but for me, I didn't have that, which then led me to filling my voids with my education. And so as long as I was accomplishing something, I felt like I was getting back to myself. But ultimately, I did not know at the time that my education was actually, you know, filling that void until I started going through the healing process, you know, coaching, counseling. And that's how I was able to get back to myself, was to seek healing, because I just felt lost from my traumatic experiences, and I just didn't have any guidance on, like, how do I navigate this life, and who is LaTasha?
And who is LaTasha? You know, that goes back to, someone brought it up earlier. I think it was Davita and Deona, when they were talking about what do I even like. And for me, that was the very question. And I think it was a little bit more to say, what do I like to do? Right? What do I enjoy doing? Someone asked me, what do you do in your free time? And I couldn't answer. Right? And that's when I knew, it was very apparent to me that I had truly lost a sense of who I was, and I lost a sense of myself. I had got so consumed in many of the things that we're talking about, career, business. You know, I'll even throw in, I think we mentioned mom earlier, but being a single mom, right, is really, really tough as you operate truly for two people. And that's a lot, you know. And so I just really became focused on being all these things to all these projects and to all these other people, that I didn't even have time to focus on the things that I enjoyed doing. There was no time to do them. So I really had to be intentional even about making time, as I begin to rediscover. You know, we talked about the journey. As I begin to rediscover, starting with what I used to do. It's kind of like what Melonie said, who I used to be. Sometimes we had to go back. Melonie also talked about who we want to be, right? But I think this is good. This is an epiphany for me. I'm having a moment with y'all, shared moment. Sometimes we have to go back to go forward.
Exactly.
So as we get lost in the middle, sometimes you got to go back to her, getting back to her, right? In order for you to get to the desired state of who you want to be, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's so true, because in the journey to getting back, I think is heavily dependent on self-reflection. Because when you're going through a process and you have so much going on and you're not thinking about yourself, but you're thinking about everything else and everybody else, and you're putting yourself last, you don't know when you've lost yourself. You just don't know. So you have to, whenever you get that moment, you need that quiet time. And I think journaling is important because we're not going to remember everything. You need that time to sit down and just take a breath and think about, okay, like, what's going on with me? What happened? What situations, what events really impacted me? What made me feel something that was unfamiliar to me? At what point did I start to compromise who I was, who I wanted to become what everyone else needed to be, or to become what he needed to be, or to become who my children needed to be? Yes. Self-reflection is such a huge part of that process. And once you go back and you kind of start to identify where you began to kind of like go off the path of what you had in mind for your life, because a lot of times the older we get, the more roles and responsibilities we take on, our dreams take a back seat.
Come on, D. Come on.
All the desires that we have for our lives, they take a back seat, because now we got these kids and it's really all about them. Now it's our responsibility to make sure that they become productive members of society and to make sure all of their dreams come true. So my dreams really don't matter anymore.
Bingo.
They don't matter anymore.
And to speak to that, D, that happens so often. And then you find yourself, especially like when the kids are older, you find yourself in a place of a little bit of resentment because you feel that you didn't fulfill your dreams because of them. But I truly feel you when you say, you know, all your dreams, all your hopes take to the back seat. And I'm trying to think of, like, in my head while you were talking, of the ways you can reflect and ways you can get back, like different strategies women can use to kind of bring themselves back to who they lost, to who they want to be. And I love the fact that you said journaling, self-reflection, meditation, prayer, just finding that quiet spot to just think on you. That a lot of times we can't find a quiet moment, especially if you got little ones running around. You can't find a quiet moment. But just finding that, and I'm gonna say this last thing: finding a group of people who also want to find themselves or reflect or get to a place where you want to get to. Finding a community, a tribe, a village, whichever trend word you want to use for it right at this time, but finding a sister circle, a circle of people who just really can relate to what you're feeling, that can listen and not judge, and just really help you rediscover the person that you want to be. I think all those things definitely help.
And before I pivot back to Crystal, I wanted to add how we lose sight of our own dreams and visions, even in relationships. We start to, I just want to speak to that because everyone is not a mom, but it doesn't mean that they don't put their dreams on the back burner for someone, right? So a lot of us will even jump on the bandwagon to help support that's my man. We ride or die. I'm a support him. I'm a listen, and I'm gonna empty out my account. I mean, we go hard, we go far. Listen, and we don't judge, right?
If we ever do a segment on that, I was following dreams, and I promise y'all, it was a purple unicorn. It was a purple unicorn. And I was like, yes, that's a purple unicorn. You couldn't tell me that was a purple unicorn. It was gonna happen. Because I was going to follow them dreams, and in the course, forgot the dreams that I had.
Absolutely.
Forgot. And I want to speak on something that you said, Ivy, about somebody asked you, what do you like? as I started navigating this dating world again, I realized in navigating it that I didn't know what I like or who I was. Like that's when the journey started for me. It was like, okay, I need to take myself out. I need to start going out, taking myself to a restaurant and seeing, do I like this restaurant? Do I want to ever go to this one? So when you do ask me, this is where I want to go. And then
I like that. Yeah.
so that and then movies. I know what movies I like, but that was something I liked to do, but I kind of stopped doing that because that was something he didn't like doing. So I didn't go.
Wow.
And I'm a moviegoer. Like I can watch movies all day long. Like I literally could have a movie. I used to have what I call blockbuster nights.
Yes.
So I would pick a night, like a Friday night, a Saturday night, and I would be like, okay, this is gonna be my blockbuster night. I get my just like I was in movies. I get popcorn, like candy, all the good stuff. Or I have blockbuster days where I would go to the movies when new movies would come out. And y'all didn't hear me say this because he ain't through me yet. And so I had like more than one show. I pay for one, but did y'all know they can't kick you out once you in? I'm not saying because I'm not saying you should do that. But
you're not encouraging others to do that.
No. But once you in the theater, they don't actually kick you out, even if they figure out that you've been in here all day and you got here this morning. They still won't kick you out. They actually give you suggestions on movies you should watch.
Gosh.
But anyway, digress. That's one of the things that I've started doing for myself was basically dating myself so I can learn who she is.
Yeah. And I think that's important as we even encourage our ladies that are single, right? Our listeners, how do you even know what to expect? How do you set expectations out there? How do you tell them if they ask you, what are some things you like to do? You need to be able to answer, right? Because what happens is when you don't know what you like and dislike, when you don't know yourself, when you've lost yourself, you will fall and pivot to anything, right? And so now you're just really this become just this shell almost, and you're just going with the flow. So then you don't, then there's no boundaries even when you can't establish what it is you like and dislike. So that's definitely a tip for those that are single and waiting or single and dating, that it's important that before you really get back out there, that you truly get back to her. Crystal, what you thought?
And what I'm hearing is a commonality of, I think every woman has to get to a point of we have to face reality and have those moments of reflection, and in those reflective moments we evaluate ourselves and we realize we're not who we are, who we once were, and we don't even know who we have become. And so those moments, that's when we have to decide that we are going to get back to her. So what do you do once you're in those moments? What is it? Just a change of mind, a change of heart? Like, what is it that you're going to do to get back to her, to get to know you? It's a process, but what do you do?
Yeah. What are some strategies y'all would like to share?
One of the strategies, like I shared earlier, was basically dating yourself, finding out your likes, your dislikes, even down to things. I have a friend and they do not like staying in the house by themselves. That's their thing. They cannot, never fails. Like they cannot just be silent in a home. But they never actually thought about what was the root of that. And it was growing up as an only child and having to stay home by themselves. So that's why they don't like it now. And so for me, I wasn't the only child, and my mom didn't have a house full of kids, but it was like, I love staying at the house by myself. During the pandemic people had issues? I didn't. I was fine. So one of my strategies is just finding out who I am, and also journaling, like the other lady said. Like, that's a big one for me. I love it.
For me, I would say just being self-aware. Understand your emotions, your needs, your desires, and seek healing. If you can't do it alone, then get someone to help you get that professional help.
That's good.
I think for me, it starts with a decision. I can remember just making a decision one day, okay, I'm going to change my life. Like, I literally had a conversation with myself. I did not like the life that I was living. I just didn't like where I was.
Yes.
I didn't like the person I had become. I had a conversation with someone, and I was like, I have these dreams for my life. I have these goals, but I don't like the life that I see when I look around. So I believe that we have to make a decision that we are better than where we are, that we were created to do more and be more. And we have to decide to very intentionally make decisions and take actions to go after the life that we truly want to live.
Absolutely. Yeah. As you were speaking, Deona, I thought about when you said you have to make a decision. I was also thinking about how you have to then be committed to that decision. And so that's when you begin to create those boundaries. And so that's one of the ways that I would like to share in terms of getting back to her is you have to create those solid boundaries for yourself, or you'll get pulled right back into being lost again, lost in other people's dreams, lost in other people's schedules, lost in other people's requests of you. So it's very important that you establish those boundaries for yourself. If Saturday is your day to be with yourself, let me couple it with Melonie's. If Saturday is your date day, then you stick to that. You mark it off of your calendar so you can visually see it, so that you can maintain that time with yourself.
And this is, I'm gonna start with the tips, but this is my last and final tip that's coming from me, because he ain't through with me yet. No is a complete sentence. You do not have to give nobody no reason why you don't want to do it. You don't have to come up with a reason. You don't have to try to figure it out. No is a complete sentence, and it is anointing in that word. You will be set free with a no. And for people that's listening, if you feel like no is too hard, guess what? I got another word for you. Can't. Somebody be like, I can't.
Melonie, you make me think of what it says, let your no's be no's and your yays be yays.
Yes.
Just saying. That's where we get confused at. We don't think that's a complete sentence. We got to come up with a reason why we can't do something. And it just be a no. You don't feel like doing it. You don't want to do it. It don't feel right with you to do that. Doesn't align with the process you're going through. It doesn't align with you coming from that wilderness, like Lady D said. It don't align with it. So I'm not about to do something that's not moving in the direction I'm trying to go.
That's it.
I did step back so I could figure out where I was. That don't mean I ain't trying to step forward so I can keep going.
Right.
And you hindering the process. So I gotta know. And like I said, if that seems too harsh for you, can't.
Can't, won't, don't. What I'm hearing, Melonie, is let your no be enough.
Yeah.
Let it be enough.
Absolutely.
And it is enough. And it is
enough. I'm not available for that. I'm sorry. I'm not available for that.
Like and I'm not so.
I'm not available. You make
it so classy. I'm not available for that.
She's so mindful.
People know in a classy way. I'm not available for that.
Mindful and demure. I love her.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be old school. No. Don't question me. Don't think about it. No. Simple as that. It just means no. But for me, I would say self-care first. For me, it's always that. And with the self-care, it's like it starts a new phase. It's isolation. It's the changing of the mindset. So when you see a physical change in me, that means I'm about on the end of that. That means I've already started the transition.
That's true. Yeah. That's good stuff. That's good. What a robust, empowering conversation. A real conversation that I think most women can relate to. The cast has come forth and shared some heartfelt stories, but also some strategies to get back to her. In closing, LaTasha, what would be your ultimate advice to us all as we are on this journey to getting back to her?
Well, after hearing the strategies, um, I was thinking about how they go in order, and I really feel like making a decision, like Lady D said, is number one. Being committed is number two. But lastly, I think we have to also be willing to put in the work. And so, with that said, getting back to her means taking action to reconnect with yourself, reestablishing a sense of personal identity after feeling disconnected from your true self that may have been caused by stress, major life transitions, or even challenges.
That was perfectly said, Tasha. That summed up the entire conversation. It was beautiful. Thank you so much for that reflection.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you all for listening and participating in our conversation, as it is our mission here with the Her Voice podcast to not only share and be transparent, but to give back to you all, as we believe in sharing is caring. Listen, we are always looking for purpose partners, so we welcome you to explore and learn more about the Inspire Her community by visiting www.inspirehernetwork.org. Also, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. We encourage you to start the journey or continue the journey to getting back to her. As you do so, remember to be bold, be courageous, and as always, be inspired.